For the chin chin, here are the ingredients. Start by measuring 1000 grams of flour, as you will be using 250 grams later. And measure your powdered milk, which is 100 grams, then pour into the flour. Now measure your powdered milk flavor. Here I am removing everything from the sachet to sieve first before I can take my measurements. And it gave me 70 grams, the total. So I'm going to be using 35 grams for this recipe, which is half of the sachet. Next, you add your nutmeg and sieve. Mix together. Now add your 1 teaspoon of salt. Mix together also. Add your 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Sieve into the flour and then also mix together. Now measure the sugar, which is 250 grams, and also add into the flour mixture. Measure your butter, which is 250 grams, and also add into your flour mixture. This time around, you begin to rub in until everything is well combined. Now, this is for the powdered ingredients. The only wet ingredient there is the butter. So for the liquid ones, break 2 eggs into a separate bowl. Add 400 grams of water into it. Next, add your 1 tablespoon of milk emulsion. You can see what it looks like. It's very white. Mix together also. Make a well at the middle of the flour mixture and then add your liquid ingredients. Start with your spatula. You can use wooden spatula here, just to make sure that the water goes into the flour completely before you start kneading. Now measure 250 grams of your flour. This is what you're going to be using to knead, and the whole of these 250 grams must enter into the mixture. Knead for 5 minutes continuously until 5 minutes. Then place into a bowl and cover to rest for 15 minutes. Now 15 minutes later, you can see how soft it has become. Okay, now divide your dough into equal parts. Set aside one and start rolling out the second one. With your pizza cutter, begin to cut into stripes. Okay, you can start vertical, you can start horizontal. To continue, sprinkle some flour on it in order to create a separator for the cutouts. Okay, if you don't do this, after cutting out, you have to recut again because they will be joining together. After cutting the straight stripes, you begin to cut again across them in order to form cubes. Now after that, you begin to gather them. Make sure you sprinkle some flour every part of it, okay? Begin to gather them. As you are gathering them, you are mixing them in with the flour, and this will create separation. It will make them, they will not be gumming together. Next, pour them into your tray, any tray at all, and make sure they are well spread, okay? Make sure they are spreaded out. Don't over pour on top, that is, don't heap on top of them so that it will not create overweight, okay? Then you begin. This time around, I'm going to be using my pasta machine. I believe some of you here know how to use it, okay? I have divided the remaining dough into 4. I may still divide more. Even as I have divided, I may still divide this one because the pasta machine may not be able to carry it at once. So when you divide, you just roll out, and after rolling out, you take it to the pasta machine. This time, now we have about 4 levels on that pasta machine. We have a level that will just give you a smoothness and flatten it equally. We have the second one that will just cut it into a normal chin-chin size, and we have the one that will make it smaller, and we have the one that will make it just look like a spaghetti size, okay? But we are not using that of the spaghetti size. We are going to be using the smooth one to get the whole thing equal, okay? Now I have done it. After this smooth one, we go to the second one. All right, now the second one is going to cut flat and straight stripes, okay? Now don't mind what I am doing. I'm actually supposed to hook it to a table, but because my iron table, it will not be able to enter this. That's why I'm doing it. But if you have something like a bench or a table, a wooden table, you can see the hole downside. Just use it, okay, and hook it. The hook is there. Looking at the screen by the right side, you can see it lying on the table. Now as I am winding, I am bringing it out, okay? This is what I am doing. You can see it. I have finished cutting. This time I'm going to be dividing them into long shapes. It won't be like the one we just used our hand to cut, okay? And I will mix them together again and pour them into a tray also. Now the next one will be the third one on the line, okay? The third shape on the line of the pasta machine. I'm also going to roll out. I have actually done some before, but I just needed to show you how it was made. So now I'll first of all make it to be equal, make it to be equal, and then after that I will take it to the third line, which will give me smaller chin-chin size. So this time I divided it, and you can see it's on the third line now. And once I check, in case you have the pasta machine, you can see me moving the handle, what I'm using to wind it, okay? I move it to exactly where the one I am using is, because that's the only way it can work. So that's it. We bring it out again and cut into the sizes that you want. Now it's not that you cannot do these things with your hand. You can. We have other multiple cutters that is freehand that you can use with your hand, okay, to cut the long stripes. So if you don't have the machine, you can use those ones also to do your cutting, okay? So after that I cut again. So next I start with my frying. And I'm frying the long bigger size that was cut by the pasta machine. That's the first one I'm frying now. But remember, the oil has to be moderately hot. As a matter of fact, I threw in one small chin-chin to be sure that the oil is enough for me to add my chin-chin. If your oil is not hot enough, it will soak oil. The chin-chin will soak oil. so it has to be moderately hot, okay, before you pour in your chin-chin. Now you have to turn at, make sure you continue to stir at intervals, okay, to avoid one side burning and the other side not cooking well. Remember that continuous stirring helps your snacks, any snacks at all, to cook evenly. No side will be a different color from the other, okay. So you can see it, the chin-chin is ready. I'm removing it now. So that's it. You can see how beautiful it came out. Okay, now I'm going to be adding the second one, which is the one we did with our hand. The one we used the pizza cutter to cut. I'm also going to be stir frying it. Now, you know there are many versions of chin-chin. This particular one we are making now is the Milky chin-chin. We have other types of chin-chin that are still very, very good. If I am to show you maybe other variations, it will be at the end of the video. By the time I finish showing you all the recipes, you just remind me, I will now show you another version of chin-chin, okay? But this one is quite very nice and very delicious. So just try it out, you will like it. So you can see now the chin-chin is almost turning brown. That is golden brown, not very brown. If you allow it to be very brown on heat, when you bring it out, it will be darkened the more. Okay, so just lightly brown is perfect for your chin-chin. So it's coming up. It's not yet okay, but it's coming up. So now this is exactly how I want the brown to be, and I'm removing it now from heat. So lastly, we are pouring in the most tiniest stripes that we have made today using the pasta machine. It's not actually the smallest part on the machine, but I think it's second to the smallest part. So the same way you go ahead and stir fry until it is completely cooked and golden brown. As you're frying this, just monitor your oil. If you notice that it's sandy, that is, the flour has settled down the oil, don't continue frying with it. All you need to do is to sieve it, okay? Because the sandy part of it will burn your chin-chin if you are not stirring continuously, okay? All you need to do is sieve your oil and return it again to heat. Again, this is golden brown now, and I am removing the small chin-chin. Now, here comes our Milky chin-chin. You need to try this out. I must tell you, you will be so happy you did. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.